from day number 1 and 2. Let me also reiterate some solid points. What is essentially Six Sigma project is? When I say you are doing a project, Six Sigma project, what is your primary focus? Can somebody speak on it? Speak on this in this line? Just one line. What do we mean by
Six
Six
Sigma
Sigma?
project is
efficiency.
primarily focused on improving the
Okay.
profitability, improving the market share, and customer satisfaction.
Very good. Improving profitability, improving market share, improving customer satisfaction. These are all business results. These are all your business results, not your CTQs. In Six Sigma project, we actually try to improve our performance with respect to a particular CTQ, which is a part of the specification of a product. So in Six Sigma, the primary focus is defect reduction. Hereafter, anybody asks you what is Six Sigma, you should immediately tell it is defect reduction. The focus is defect reduction. We are trying to make defects impossible in our process. We are trying to make defects impossible. Even if somebody is want to know, produce a defective item, it will be impossible. That is what is the Six Sigma capability, right? So this, we also call it as effectiveness. The ability of a process to produce the defect-free outputs. In general, I'm saying the output can be a product, output can be a service, output can be a specific characteristics in your product, output can be a specific characteristics in your service. So primarily, Six Sigma means defect reduction. All of you are with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Similarly, when I say I'm doing a lean project, what do I mean? What is that I'm trying to do?
Reduce
waste.
Waste reduction.
I'm trying to reduce waste and I'm trying to prevent waste. Waste reduction is lean. As a result, my process efficiency will go up. So there are two terminology now coming up. One is effectiveness, another one is efficiency. Effectiveness means the ability of your process to produce defect-free output. Isn't it? Efficiency means the ability of your process to optimally utilize the resources. That is efficiency. Hope all of you agree with me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that means essentially whatever we do, we are trying to optimize the process. Either we try to optimize the process effectiveness, I mean improve the process effectiveness, or improve the process efficiency. So we should have a proper clarity on process. Essentially, all of you, when you are going to call yourself as a Six Sigma expert, it simply means you're all experts in process improvement. That's all. You're all experts in process improvement. That's why tomorrow you will be able to handle any situation. Because any company is typically collection of n number of processes. That's all. If you know how to improve a process, you are actually helping the organization. You become a very good contributor. Company will start seeing you as an asset. Okay. Now when I say process, it will have set of activities. Am I right? Small activities. When I say activity, the smaller steps. And every step will have an input and an output. Every step will have an input and output, and the collection of steps together or the collection of activities together, we call it process. We call it process, and ultimately we need all these steps, we need all these activities to produce a certain output. In order to produce the output, we need inputs, right? The inputs come from the left side, and then finally the inputs are getting converted into required of outputs. And again, output can be a product or a service, whatever it is. Sometimes it is output is just an information, right? It can be, we need to understand. And now, if there is a problem with the output, then we need to understand that, yes, something wrong happening either in the input or within our process, right? So we just have to either correct the process parameter or correct the process inputs. The process parameters or the process conditions, temperature, pressure, machine setting, these are all, parameters or the characteristics related to the process. all that is going into the process, the raw material, human effort, and all of these are input. So what I want here is, I want all of you to think every problem in the form of y equal to f of x. The form of y equal to f of x. Y is normally, the pain metric which we are trying to fix. The pain metric can be the rejection rate. The pain metric can be, the rework rate, or the pain metric can be the poor characteristics in your product. The product is not having the enough strength, or not having the proper surface finish, or the pain metric can be the process is taking a lot of time. It's a resource, it's an efficiency related problem. Process is taking a lot of time, cycle time, lead time, right? And all these things. So we have to understand the pain metric. So understanding the pain metric is the first step. This is known as problem identification. This is known as problem identification. In define phase, the very first step is problem identification. How will you identify problems in your workplace? For that, either you can refer to the data, cost of poor quality data. You all might know what is cost of poor quality.
Yeah.
Every time a failure is happening, yes, there is a cost associated, and that must be accounted. That must be documented. If that information is available, let's say warranty claim information is available, rejection information is available, rework information is available, overtime information is available. Can you spend some time to find out how much the company is losing, which otherwise, could have been saved? Right? And this is one way you can identify problem, referring to the cost of poor quality data. For that, you must have the wealth of information about the failures. If that is not available, probably you have to collect data, put some additional effort to understand the cost of poor quality. All of you are with me?
Yeah.
Now the
Yes,
pain is expressed directly in dollars. Definitely, your boss will definitely, appreciate your thinking. Sir, we are losing 42 lakhs every month because of this rejection percentage. The industry standard is less than 1%, but in our company, it is 3.8%. We can almost 80% of it, we can definitely reduce. We are not, putting any proactive efforts to resolve it. So this is one way you can identify project, the first step in your define phase. The other way is referring to the voice of the customer or voice of the business. Hope all of you learned this, isn't it? Voice of the customer and voice of the business. And again, information is required. How the customer, interacts with your business. Maybe he interacts through email, your call center, and you can refer to that. And if such a system is available in a proper shape, definitely all the customer complaints can be your projects. Customer complaints are nothing but the problems, nothing but the improvement opportunities, nothing but the projects. But what is very, very important is when you hear to your customer, his language will not be, specific. He may be, very vague in his requirement, in his complaint also. Hope all of you agree with me. Isn't it? Most of the time, the customer's language will not be technical. You should be able to correctly understand the problem. For that only, it's very important you convert the voice of the customer into CTQ. When we say CTQ, what does it mean? Critical to quality characteristics. Critical to quality characteristics. So, for example, let's say you have a water pump, right? You have a water pump, and the water pump has to pump the water. And there is customer complaint is, see, we are not getting enough water. What does it mean? What is the complaint is about?
Water pressure.
Water pressure is not sufficient, or the water flow rate is not sufficient. This is what he mean as, we are not getting enough water. enough water and then the water pressure, water flow rate are different. But then it is derived from the customer statement only. Now, what can you do to improve the flow rate or to improve the pressure of the water? I mean, in the pump, some change is required. So this is how we need to convert the voice of the customer into CTQ. And this drill down process has to happen. It is nothing but a small table. The first column will have the voice of the customer as it is. The second column should have the drivers of satisfaction. The second column should have the drivers of satisfaction. Then the third column should express the drivers of satisfaction in a measurable metric. Say, for example, I need a quality footwear. I need a quality footwear. So we all know footwear, we all use. But what are the drivers of satisfaction in a footwear? What a customer normally expects from a footwear? Do you want it to be durable? So
Yes.
durability is a driver of satisfaction. Now comes the next question. How can I measure the durability?
Tensile strength.
Tensile strength. Okay.
Thickness of the material.
Thickness of the material. I mean, here we say durability, we mean how long the product can be used. How long the product can meet the customer requirement. It should be considered as a footwear usable. Maybe normally, footwear when we buy, how long we normally use it? 1 year. So durability is expressed, in terms of a timeline. Maybe years, maybe number of days, number of hours, depending on the item. For footwear, we say 1 year, sometimes 6 months, sometimes 90 days, right? Sometimes we may even say this can work for 100 kilometers. Because footwear, we normally use it for walking and running, etc. Suppose if it is an engine, they will say 1 year, 1 lakh kilometer, something like that, right? So finally, we convert the voice of the customer into CTQ. And if the CTQ is under trouble, that's a problem. That will pull down your customer satisfaction. And so we will, initiate a project on it so that our customer satisfaction will go up. Right? All of you are with me on this?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, there can
Yes.
be many drivers of satisfaction in every customer voice. In the example of the footwear, it is not only durability, the comfort. The comfort while wearing the footwear. Now, how
Looks.
can... yes, Mr. Neeraj.
Looks as well.
It should be aesthetically, it should look good. When I wear it, people should be attracted, right? Anybody who is seeing my footwear, yes, they should get impressed. So we talk about some aesthetics. So write down all these drivers. The drivers, where will you write? In the first column or second column or third column?
Second column.
Third column.
Second column. First column is for the voice of the customer. Second column is for the drivers of satisfaction.
Drivers.
Now for every driver, you should identify the CTQs.
In metric.
When I was talking about the durability, madam was saying tensile strength. Now we need to have take a proper decision. Is it really the tensile strength that will help us to understand the durability of the product? If the answer is yes, then you need to include tensile strength. But if it is not, you don't worry. Maybe you can find an alternate. And probably we can say the duration in terms of months, right? And similarly, comfortable to wear. Comfortable means the customer is talking about whether what material it is made of, and customer is concerned about probably the heel height. If the heel height is not proper, probably the customer may not feel comfortable wearing your footwear. So every driver of satisfaction can lead to multiple CTQs. Can you see that, all of you? It did not be just one. There can be multiple CTQs. Clear? All these CTQs you need to write in the third column. If any of the CTQ is under trouble, yes, that's a project opportunity. Try to fix it. Yes, madam, you have a question. You are raising your hand.
Yes, sir. So we said that durability includes comfort. So let us say for increasing the durability, we are trying to make a decision on whether we need to increase the weight of the footwear. But let us say the comfort factor will get affected by that. Where do we make the trade-off? Which column do we put that trade-off under? Because increasing the weight will actually also impact the comfort. It could become heavy for the foot. So in these three columns, how do we account for that trade-off?
Yeah, now the objective is not to decide on the trade-off. The objective is finding a way to measure the driver of satisfaction. Finding a way. Whatever you think can be an indicator of the particular driver of satisfaction, just write it, that's all. And I know if we improve on this, something else will get affected. And so we need to make a trade-off, and that will be taken up separately. That is called, the QFD.
Okay.
How can I have an optimal specification? Right? There are several things customer expects. And if I focus too much on one thing, then it will affect the cost. It will make me to compromise on something else. So that is, separate procedure. Right now we are talking about CTQ identification. The tool name is CTQ tree, which will essentially a diagram or a table. Diagram or a table, the first column, second column, third column. The first column is VOC, second column is drivers, third column is metrics. Now let us take a service industry. Like, I want to buy a loan. I want to take a loan. I need a loan which is which is affordable for me. Now this is the voice of the customer. Now you are a bank. Now how will you fulfill the requirement of customers like me? It is not just one person, me, I am looking for a loan. Every person is looking for a loan. If everyone understands the loan is affordable, then probably everyone would borrow loan. Now, what is this the customer is concerned about? The loan must be affordable. What are the drivers of satisfaction here?
Low interest rate.
Okay, low interest rate.
Low processing fee. Low processing fee.
Straight away, you are able to arrive on the CTQ here. So interest rate is one of the CTQ, right? And similarly, the other things. Maybe suppose, let's say
EMI options.
Yeah, EMI options. And then
foreclosure duties and all other duties that they levy.
Repayment penalties.
Yeah, the penalties and all of this, you will actually here you are able to identify the CTQ very easily. See, if it looks tough, first initially identify the driver. That's why we have the second column, right? Initially identify the driver. In a loan, we suppose we need some pre-closure option. Well, we want the loan to be flexible, isn't it? We really don't want to know the loan I should prepay the loan for 20 years. No, whenever I have money, I would like to pay. So some flexibility is required. That's a driver. And then the pre-closure option, pre-closure charge.
Yes.
And then how much is the excess money I pay? That is the driver of dissatisfaction. That means I am talking about interest rate. So likewise, you should identify. These are all first step. I'm talking about first step. Right? So now voice of the customer, problems identified from the voice of the customer are one source. Another thing is problems identified from the voice of the business. Let's say, do you think a bank manager will also have a problem? The head office will be, reviewing his performance. Can you tell me certain metrics by which the bank manager will get reviewed?
Repayment of loan, if the payment not received, right, the bank manager is responsible.
Yeah.
Deposits.
Repayments issue.
Deposits.
Defaulters.
Defaulters. The number default rates. Right now in your bank, the default rate is 20%. But our bank's history is, it's always less than 2%. But in your branch alone, it is 20%. Definitely will be questioned. So voice of the business also helps us to understand certain metrics. Now we call them as CTB, critical to business. Ultimately, all of them will have an effect on cost of poor quality. All right. So voice of customer analysis, voice of business analysis, cost of poor quality analysis, and now you have list of projects. If you don't want to use all of this, now the alternate option is brainstorming. Simply call all your branch manager. Just allow them to express their problem. Some of them will start crying, isn't it? So you will be flooded with the problems. Note down, carefully note down. One good quality during brainstorming is don't discourage anyone while talking. Allow them to speak out. You write down. Now in less time, you will be flooded with hundreds of projects. Right? So this is actually a shortcut way, but the better thing is identifying the projects based on the customer complaints, identifying the projects based on the business voice. I hope all of you have a clarity in understanding the difference between VOC and VOB.
Yeah.
Whose voice is generally considered voice of business?
The
Internal
staff, internal
stakeholders,
staff.
executives,
Executives, all employees voice, all employees voice
leaders,
of
managers,
business.
employees.
The sales force.
Managers, leaders, the management, right? And their voice are normally considered voice of business, right? And because the employees are in Six Sigma, the employees are considered internal customers. Internal customers. All right. So this is problem identification. And now what is very, very important next stage is problem selection. Problem selection is not actually the job of a green or a black belt. It is the job of the quality council. But you as a Six Sigma expert, what you should know is whether this problem is really a problem for Six Sigma. Is it really a problem that has to be solved by using Six Sigma methodology? That much you must have a clarity. A problem is considered suitable for Six Sigma if it is recurring in nature. Problem is repeatable. If you don't run this project, the problem will repeat again and again. And then the root causes are unknown. If you are with me on this, the root causes are unknown. Solutions are not available. Such projects are considered as Six Sigma projects. We are going to work on such projects. Look for such opportunities. There are hundreds of problems. Not all problems comes under this category. But definitely certain problems which are repeatable in nature, and then solutions are not available, root causes are unknown, definitely that is a Six Sigma project. Now that has to be expressed in the form of a project charter. Before going to the project charter, you need to understand the problem, in specific terms. Don't try to solve a problem which doesn't have any boundaries. No, you will never be able to solve it. Problems must be specific in nature. Please try to solve the problem one by one. Go one by one. Don't do everything. Don't do anything in a hurry. Company has 100 problems. You don't have to solve all 100 problems yourself. No. You solve only one problem at a time. And the problem is always, related to y variable, isn't it? In our language, in our mathematical language, y equal to f of x, the pain metric is y. Then what is x? Maybe the root cause, right? The y. So now try to understand the y. Try to understand the why. Can I measure it first of all? Rejection rate, can you measure it? Yes, I can measure it. When I measure it, what kind of data it is? We will talk this in measure phase. All right? And so try to define your why. Rejection rate means in which plant you are talking about rejection rate. Is my question logical? You are saying rejection rate, but my company has got 100 plants all across the country. Now I am asking you, in which plant you are talking about the rejection? Now you are saying, sir, it is Bangalore plant. Now the problem is scope down, isn't it? Now the problem is specific to Bangalore. It doesn't mean that there are no rejection in other plants. Other plants also has rejection, but it is not scoped in my project. So based on the geography, you can scope your project. How do you know all this information? You must use some tools, isn't it?
Pareto analysis.
Just plot a Pareto and then look at your, just have data from all the plants and then plot a Pareto. In Pareto, the x-axis will talk about the various places where you have your plant. Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Bhubaneswar, Hyderabad, all the cities are written in your x-axis.
X-axis.
Now in your y-axis, the rejection rate represents. And the highest rejection rate is Bangalore. The rejection rate is 3.8%. Now all other plants, the rejection rate is very less. Now which city will appear first or which bar will appear first? The bar that is representing
Bangalore.
Bangalore. So now that we are deciding to first work on reducing the rejection rate in our Bangalore plant. It doesn't mean that we are not interested in other rejections. No, we'll take it up later. This project is now scoped based on the geography. Can you all see that? Now within Bangalore, is that the how many products the Bangalore plant is making? 100 products. Is that all 100 products has the same rejection rate?
Maybe, may not. We don't know.
No.
Most of the time it will be different. Now you have to ask for that information. Sir, tell me, product-wise rejection rate. Product A, product B, product C, product D, etc., etc., etc. There are several products. Now product A, rejection rate is very high. How do you know that? Again, collection of data, isn't it? Pareto has been discussed with you, yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am only talking in terms of Pareto. One tool, any one tool, if you are more comfortable with, you can use it to understand, several things. Now, product-wise, you are scoping. Now you realize product A is the priority. Right? Rejection rate in Bangalore plant, specifically product A. Reducing the rejection rate of product A in the Bangalore plant. That is your project. Is it more specific now?
Yeah.
Saying rejection rate is voice of business. But clearly telling, reducing the rejection rate in product A, particularly in the Bangalore plant, is a voice of business, is a CTB. You can always, stratify further. You can dive deeper further. And now within product A, how many types of defects are happening? You can ask that question also. How many types of defects are possible? Opportunities for defect, isn't it? We studied it. Can you tell me, is there several type of defects can happen in product A? Yes or no?
Yes.
Defect number 1, defect number 2, defect number 3. There are 5 types of defects that are possible in product A. Can you again, segregate your data defect wise? Possible?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Now, defect wise,
Yeah.
which is the defect that is dominating? Now you plot another Pareto. This is called stratification. This is called stratification. Now you realize it is Bangalore plant, it is product A, it is defect number 1 or defect number 2. Now what is your focus now? Reducing the
Defects.
rejection rate due to defect number 1 in product A in Bangalore plant. This is your project title. This is your project title. Problem is understood specifically. Boundaries are very clear. Certain things are considered under the scope of the project. Certain things are currently excluded. All of you, can you see that? After this only, you must proceed to project charter. Otherwise, your project charter will be of no use. All of you are with me on this? If I ask you to prepare a project charter team-wise, will you be able to prepare? If you all can prepare, I would like to review it on coming Wednesday, because Thursday you have some other thing going on. Project charter team-wise, please have a discussion, some 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Try to talk about a specific problem in one of your company, and then try to drill it down like this. And if you show all the Pareto, your boss will love the way you are thinking. Why are we drilling down like this? Because any company would expect you to work on a project that requires less effort, at the same time more benefit. Why am I specifically chosen Bangalore plant, not other plant? Because in Bangalore plant, rejections are high. If I reduce the rejection in Bangalore than in Chennai, the benefits, the savings will be more. Less effort, but more returns. This is called a prioritization. So Pareto is a prioritization tool. The same tool can help you to understand the problem better. The same tool can help you to drill down the problem better. This is called vital few versus trivial many. The vital few is 20%, trivial is 80% normally. Isn't it? 80% of the cost of poor quality is contributed by 20% of your factories. You have so many factories, but 80% loss is caused by 20% of the factory. You can also express it in the other way. 80% of the cost of poor quality are due to 20% of the products. You can also express it in another way. 80% of the cost of poor quality are due to 20% of the defect categories. That is why you need to drill down. All of you now understand what you need to do before writing down a project charter. Problem is identified, and you ensure it is a real candidate for the Six Sigma methodology and the tools, and then you scope it properly, and now you can try to write the project charter. What are the elements? You all talked about it in the recap also. Business case, problem statement, goal statement, scope statement, team line, time number. I hope all of you are familiar with this terminology, right?
Yes.
Business case, yes. Now we know X and Y. What is your understanding about Y? Y is the pain metric. Sometimes it is CTQ, sometimes it is CTB. It's a pain metric. X are the causes. We are not worried about the causes right now. We are only worried about the problem. In define phase, please limit your thinking only to Y. You don't have to think, don't have to write anything about X, which you will be expected to do in the analyze phase. Your focus is limited only to Y. It is rejection rate, that's all. Right? Or it is the strength of the material, or it is the surface finish of the material. People are saying, poor surface finish. So what is the surface finish, currently? And where do we want to improve it? So that much understanding is enough. If I solve this problem, you know what will happen? One participant correctly said, sir, profitability will improve. Sir, customer satisfaction will improve. Sir, your market share will improve. Then what all these metrics are? They are not X. They are not Y. We have to give them a special name. They are called as the Z variables. They are called as Z variables or Z variables. What is this? Business results. They are not CTQs. CTQs are your Y variables. We know X. X are the culprits. Isn't it? Our culprit is in one of the X is the culprit. Y is the pain experienced by our customer or the business. If I fix that culprit, my Y will get fixed. If my Y is fixed, what will happen to my Z? Market share, my profitability, my customer satisfaction.
Increase.
Increase.
So these are called business results or business consequences. Why the business consequence is happening? Because there is a problem with the Y. Why there is a problem with the Y? Because there is a problem with one or few X. This is called problem solving. In the whole course, you are going to master this. If this clarity is not there, it will be very difficult for you to connect with the program. We are going to teach you only in terms of X, Y, and Z. You might see it as a mathematics, but we are actually talking the real problem. Only thing is, if you don't understand X, Y, and Z, no, you will see it as a mere mathematics. No, we are not doing any mere mathematics. We are only using some mathematical and statistical concepts to solve our real-time problem. Why, sir, you are bringing mathematics and statistics? Why can't we do it without, using the maths and stats? Because the problem is complex. Please understand, ladies and gentlemen here. The problem is complex. So that's why, we are drilling it down. We are breaking it into pieces. Z separate, Y separate, X separate. Most of the time, if you just listen to 1 minute talking to, even a senior level person, he'll mix up all of this and then make a statement out of it. Now, all the people who are listening to him are completely confused. Whether he is talking about business result, or he is talking about problem, or he is talking about the root cause, or he is talking about solution. He talks about everything. Then what can you do for him? So this clarity is very, very important. Your communication will definitely will improve, particularly while the communication related to the project. We are not talking about the English here. The communication related to the project. I think now all of you have the clarity X, Y, and Z. Z can be many, Y can be many, X can be many. A particular Z might depend on several Y. Yes or no? A particular Z might depend on several Y. Let us say market share. Market share depends on your product characteristics. And characteristics are many. Y1, Y2, Y3. And again, Y1. If you take any Y1, that has to be understood properly. What is this Y1? What is the process that is responsible for the Y1? Now, what are all the X? There are so many X. Our whole journey, of Six Sigma project is understanding the Y and then understanding the X. Thereby, will show results in terms of Z. Your boss would expect you to speak in terms of Z. Your customer will always speak in terms of Y. And it is you who is going to speak in terms of X. Thereby, you are going to fix the problems and then ensure customer satisfaction as well as business satisfaction. This much clarity, if you gain, you can proceed to project charter. Otherwise, no. You will simply bluff some statements while writing the project charter. Like the example I said, a person holding the mic and talking about everything, and people are completely confused after his speech. Your project charter should not be of that category. Your project charter should clearly communicate. The person who reads your project charter should understand everything you are trying to communicate. And then he should be able to make a quick decision on your project charter. Because who will read your project charter? Your boss, the top management or the middle management, or your department head who claims to be the project sponsor. Who claims to be the project sponsor. What do you think, how much time he may spend understanding your project charter? 10 days?
5 to 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes. That's why it's very important.
Maybe 3 to 4 days.
Yeah, that's why it's very important. He can only spend, a lesser time, depending on the organization, right? Depending on the environment. Most of the time it is, maybe less than 10 to 15 minutes, that's all. And then they'll take a decision. What do you think, he will be interested in your project charter? He'll be interested in X or Y or Z?
Is it
Z.
Z is the main focus
business
for
statement
the
here?
So where will you talk about the Z variable in your project charter? Tell me.
Business statement.
Business case.
Yeah, business case.
A project charter is nothing but an A4 sheet that has 6 boxes. The first box on your left side, the first box on the top left side of your project charter is business case, where you need to talk about business results. Now, if I do this project, if I complete this project, what will be the financial benefit to the company? What will be the financial benefit to the company? Always financial benefit must be calculated for a 1-year period. What should be the duration of benefit? You project benefit over 1 year. Let us say the rejection rate. Rejection rate, how much I said? 3.8%. What is our project goal?
Defect reduction.
Defect reduction and bring the rejection rate below 1%. Now rejection rate is Y variable. Rejection rate is Y variable. And so in problem statement, you have to write about the rejection rate. Sir, for the last 3 years or last 6 months, last 1 year, our Bangalore plant, product XYZ, the rejection rate is 3.8%. The average rejection rate is 3.8%, leading to a cost of poor quality of so much, isn't it? And not only leading to cost of poor quality and affecting our customer satisfaction, etc. You write the problem statement in a way that your sponsor should be able to cry. Oh, so much happening in my factory. 3.8% rejection rate. The number looks small, but then in terms of dollars, it is running in crores. So much I'm losing. Profit itself is not that much. The last year balance sheet, the profit is only in terms of lakhs, but the cost of poor quality out of one single defect is running in crores. Oh, what is the hell I'm doing? Isn't it? I should have made crores. I have not paid proper attention. So problem statement should bring tears in the eyes of the sponsor. If possible, you can try to bring out the blood. Right? It is in your words. Make right choice of the words. Make him, connect with the statement quickly. 2 lines, not much. 2 lines, 3 lines. But then it should communicate effectively. Problem statement. So in the business case, you made it very impressive, saying that, sir, this project has a saving potential of 1.2 crores annually. Moreover, there are other additional benefits. Always there will be additional benefits, isn't it? Anything you do. For example, you are doing the program. You will get the black belt certificate. And then there are many other benefits. Isn't it? Your idea about the project, your idea about operational excellence is completely changed now. You are able to think better and you are able to communicate better. Now, every meeting you go, you come out successfully. People really admire the way you talk about a subject. Isn't it? Whether it's a business meeting or customer meeting or meeting with your boss or meeting a client, yes, you are able to convert the result in your favor. All right. So there are many additional benefits. Similarly, your project not only give financial benefit, there will be non-financial benefits, which will become financial benefits in the long run. Yes or no? Your project gives savings in the first year this much. But after 3-4 years, the savings will be much more. Because there are no rejections, I would say customer retention will be better now. Even the employees' retention is also improving. Working conditions are now improving. My 5S audit score is now improving because I don't have clutters of rejections in my workplace. My inventory levels, I don't require too much inventory now. Can you see hundreds of other benefits coming on? Can you include all of this in your business case to impress your sponsor? Come on.
Yes.
Ultimately, the sponsor the first thing the sponsor read from your project charter is business case. You have to make it impressive. Talk about the financial benefit. Also talk about the non-financial benefit. Financial benefit within 1 year, what will happen? How much will be the saving? How much money that is going to enter the sponsor's packet? But in the long run, he may receive much more money. That also you should not fail to include. He try to speak the language of the sponsor. Try to speak the language of the sponsor. If he is talking about customer retention rate, you must use the customer retention rate in your project. This is called a strategic alignment. If he is talking about product reliability, you must use product reliability in your business case. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
No? English. 2 to 3 lines, but not in a big story. Everything is just 1 page, at the maximum 1.5 page or 2 page. That's all. So we know business case, we know problem statement. Then comes goal statement. Project goal. What is your project goal? Now tell me, what is your project goal? Your goal is improve the business case or solve the problem. I mean, your goal is to improve the business result or to solve the problem. What is your goal?
Improve the business by solving the problem.
Yes.
So when we are resolving our defects, identifying and reducing it, ultimately
So
it will give the fruitful result.
Very good. So Senthil is clearly telling, sir, Z depends on my Y only. Let me not worry about Z. Let me worry about Y. Because when I solve the Y, Z should improve. That's your point. Am I right, sir?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So project goal should be for the Y. Don't set a goal for the Y, not for the Z. Improve the sales from 100 crores to 120 crore is a wrong goal statement. Goal is set for the Z variable, not for the Y variable. But your definition of business result, pain metric, and causes has to be understood, right? But if using X, Y, Z is not going to be the correct thing, maybe it's not a Six Sigma project, then that subject is different. Let us not talk about it, right? We are talking only about the Six Sigma project. So goal must be set only for the pain metric. Now the pain metric is rejection rate. What is our target now? Current rejection rate is 3.8%. What is our target?
Bring it down to 1% or less.
Below 1%. Why are we not saying 0 here? Why are we saying safely less than 1%?
It also needs to be, the goals need to be realistic.
In another way, there is always a possible to improve.
Always there is a possibility to improve, yes. And at the same time, achieving perfection is difficult. 0% is, something very, very difficult. So that's other thing. And another thing, 3.8 to 1. Is this difference significant? Is this difference significant? Very, very important statistical word. If it is not significant, you will not be able to claim the benefit for your career growth. You can't claim that, the reduction of the rejection rate is due to your project. If you reduce the rejection rate from 3.8 to 3.6%, will you be able to claim this result?
Yes, obviously.
But people will not believe. You may try to claim. People will not believe. Hey, this. Already last month rejection is 2.5. It is not because of your project. It is not because of your effort. The suspect is more now. You are only claiming. Nobody else will agree with you. Because the improvement is very, very marginal.
Very marginal, yeah.
Your improvement should be a significant improvement. In order to understand what is significant, when to use significant, you all must learn a statistical concept known as confidence interval. We are ready to teach. But only when you are ready to listen. Not now. Confidence interval, 95% confidence interval. Right? Even though we say 3.8% rejection rate, always our rejection rate is slightly up and down. Yes or no? Last 6 months, if you look at, it is 3.8 plus or minus, let's say, 0.5%. So 3.8, sometimes it goes to 4.3. Sometimes it comes to 3.3. That is why 3.8 to 3.6, nobody accepts. Automatically, it can go up and down. How can you claim it? Your sugar level every day going up and down. You are not on diet, but still your sugar level may slightly come down. But if you are sincerely on a diet, following certain, improvement procedure, your sugar level will start coming down even below the lower confidence limit. Yes or no? So always see to that. Always see to that. You are aiming a significant improvement, not a random improvement. Always see to that you are targeting a significant improvement and not a real improvement. Not a random improvement. And so in the goal statement, you should fix a target for Y, not for Z. And ask yourself, am I really targeting a significant improvement? Will I be able to claim the credit if the project is successful? Very, very important, right? And so your goal statement has to be smart. This is called SMART goal. SMART means S stands for specific. M stands for
Measurable.
A stands for
Achievable.
achievable. Then R stands for
Realistic.
not realistic.
Relevant to the business goal.
That is why I told you to use the same language of your sponsor. Strategic alignment. Project is aligned with the business priority. Now T stands for
Time bound.
Time-bound.
time bounded. You are saying that you will bring down the rejection from 3.8 to below 1%. But when that will happen? Green belt project generally 3 to 4 months. Black belt project generally 4 to 6 months. Standard, normal timeline, but you can change it based on, the understanding. You will be able to judge properly only when you understand the problem specifically. Only when the scope of the problem is clearly understood. The boundaries has to be very, very clear. Is that goal statement? All of you will be able to write the goal statement now?
Yes.
I would like to review your statement coming Wednesday. I will be available myself 8 p.m. onwards. Whomsoever is ready with the project charter, I will simply meet and then, share my views.
Sure, sir.
Wednesday is the time and it is purely optional. If you are too busy, and I leave it to you. But those of you who make the project charter, team-wise, one charter is good enough. Please come with it.
Okay.
And we will just review it and I will share my viewpoints. So we understood business case, we understood problem statement, we also understood goal statement. And time bounded means you can even specifically tell the project closure date.
Yes.
Project target will be achieved. I mean, reduce the rejection rate from 3.8 to less than 1% by end of November 2023. That's all. So August, September, October, November, 4 months is my project. 120 days. You can also say within 120 days. Now the next thing is scope statement. Now what should you write? There are two statements you have to write: in scope and then out of scope, or out scope. In scope and out scope. In scope means what are all coming under your responsibility. Out scope means what is out of your responsibility. For example, the rejection rate in Bangalore plant comes under your responsibility. Yes or no?
Yes.
And then other plants, it's out of your responsibility. You're not going to reduce the rejection rate of other plants. Maybe the same product, same rejection happens there also, but this project is not addressing that. You have to make a statement on it. Will you be able to write it? Right? We are bringing clarity, nothing. So
Yes.
in scope, Bangalore plant or plant number 1, and out scope, other plants. Geographically, the scope is defined. Then product number, part number 1, other products are out of scope. Can you see that, all of you? Will you be able to write? I am
Yes.
saying only part number 1 generically, but you can tell the specific terminology you use in your factory. Sir, it is camshaft, or it is CRG 123. Some name you will have. So part number 1 in scope, other parts out of scope. Then within part number 1, defect number 1 in scope, other type of defects out of scope. This will bring more clarity. You will be able to talk better. All right. If you are a green belt, you should select a project within your department only. If you are a green belt, your project should be limited only to your department, or the scope of your project should only be limited to your department. If you are a black belt, maybe you can widen the scope. The project can become cross-functional in that nature. Hope all of you understand. All of you are clear with the scope?
Yes.
And also,
Yes, sir.
I want you to comment about the process you are going to improve in the scope statement, which is an add-on, additional, information we are going to provide. Process. You don't have to draw the complete process. Just write the starting point of the process and then end point of the process. Starting point and ending point of the process. Will you be able to do it? Say for example, there is a factory, and in your Bangalore factory, there are 3 different sections. One is the foundry section. You all know foundry, right? Where they melt the metal and then, make some products. And then once the products are made, all these products now goes to the next section, which is known as machining. And then in machining, so many things will happen, They will cut into pieces, they will drill hole, they will enlarge the hole, they will grind it. All this work will happen there. And then the output will go to next section, which is, surface treatment. Surface treatment to enhance its strength. And then finally it goes to packing. Now, what is your project about? Is your project related to foundry section, or related to machining section, or related to surface treatment, or is it related to packaging? Is this important to understand? Is this scope also important to understand, all of you? Particularly if it is a green belt project, your project should either be limited to foundry, or be limited to machine shop, or be limited to surface treatment, and it should not cross the departmental boundary. The project should not be a cross-functional project. Now, let us assume that the problem is related to the foundry. Now, which is the process that is actually producing the defect? Within foundry, there are several processes. Am I right? Within foundry, there are several processes. Can you tell me few processes that happen inside a foundry?
Yeah, melting, mold making,
mold making, melting, mold making,
core making,
core making,
shaping,
then
Adding
shipping.
elements.
shaping also.
Cutting,
Adding
measurement
constraints.
cutting.
Okay. So then you have to pour the metal, and then you should allow it for solidification, and then you should take it out, and then some inspection happens, right? Now, out of all of this process, which is the process that can be a culprit for your problem? Do you understand my point now?
Correct mold making.
Yeah, try to make the right guess here. If you are not able to guess, then you may have to work on a big process. Do you understand? If you are not able to make a guess, then your process will be very long. That will increase the complexity of the project. At the same time, if you make a wrong choice, you are not going to hit the result. Your project will be a big failure, utter flop. So, involve your team member, try to figure out the process that is responsible for the particular failure. let us say blowholes are coming. What are coming? Blowholes are coming. Now blowholes, is it have anything to do with the melting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then the mold making?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then pouring?
Yes. Yes.
And then
Yes.
solidification?
No,
No. Like that.
no, I think.
Solidification has no connection with your blowholes?
Yeah, maybe time.
Okay.
Yes.
So far everything is included. We are not able to skip anything. And inspection?
No, inspection not get matter.
Inspection is not causing the blowholes, isn't it? The inspection is only checking. So now there are 4 different processes we are talking about. Melting, core making, die making, pouring, and solidification. Five process, let us imagine. Now within the 5, what do you think, can be the biggest contributor? I think everything is a contributor. That is why you are choosing everything. You're right. You're absolutely correct. Because melting is also important. And then die making is also important. Core making is also important. And pouring the metal into the die, that's also important. And then solidification is also important. Now 5 process we are talking about. Can you tell me which can be, the major contributor?
Solidification.
Shamal says solidification. And no problem. In this situation, you can take the opinion of the people around as well as the experts. Some experts also you can consult. You get my point, all of you. Solidification. Or if you also still you are doubtful about the pouring, include the pouring also in your scope of the project. Get my point? Pouring also included. Pouring and then solidification. So there are 2 processes we are concerned about, but we are now safely excluding melting because we are happy with the way we are melting. It is as per the standards. We can't do anything over there, right? The melting is done as per the standards. So we want to scope it out. And then core making, we are not having any doubt with the core making. Core is nowhere is considered to be causing the blowhole. So we are going to exclude it, right? And die making also, we are going to exclude it. Now only 2 processes we are now suspecting. One is pouring, another one is solidification. Now, what is the starting point of the pouring? What is the starting point of the pouring? Pouring is a process, right? Can you tell me the starting point? Suppose if it is a coffee making process, what is that you will start with? If you have to make a coffee, what is that you will start with?
Decoction.
Water.
You will straight away put the decoction, right? Put the decoction in the sink?
So
Somewhere.
pouring wise,
Okay. So you will think and then finalize the steps. Maybe the first arrange the, whatever utensils that is required, right? Ingredients. So the first step has to be figured out. Same manner, when we say pouring, when does it start and where does it start? Pouring means what? Who is pouring? When he is pouring? Where he is, where the pouring activity starts? Furnace, the molten metal is there.
Yes.
And some ladle is collecting the molten metal, correct?
Yes.
Once that ladle is filled with the molten metal, now the next thing is you have to pour it.
Pouring.
Now do you understand when the pouring starts?
Yes.
Everything that is happening before the pouring, we are not going to doubt. Our starting point is pouring. And then solidification. After pouring, you allow it to solidify. And when the solidification ends, the moment
Material is solid.
The moment you take out the castings, right?
Yes.
The moment you take out the casting. So the first moment and the last moment is captured.
Yes.
All of you understand?
Yes.
Everything that is happening between the first moment and the last moment is in the scope of your project. Clear?
SIPOC consider all these things or only we consider only this pouring and solidification?
No, your SIPOC. Now we'll come to the SIPOC little later. Now I am asking you to write down the starting point and ending point of the process within your project charter. It should not look like a process diagram. It should just a statement, starting point and then ending point. You are giving your sponsor the enough confidence to approve your project charter. All of you are clear here?
Yes, yes.
Later on, we develop into SIPOC. Starting point is known, ending point is known. Add 3 to 5 steps in between. What will happen between in the pouring and solidification? The ladle is moving for a distance of, let's say, 2 meters. The ladle has to be moved for a distance because your die is, kept a little away. The ladle is moving 2 meters distance, and then the ladle is tilted, and then the metal is flowing at a constant flow rate into the die opening. And then once the die is filled, the the pouring is stopped, and now the die is allowed to solidify for, let's say, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever is the prescription. And then are you also cooling? Are you also placing the die? Is that the solidification is open air, or are you quenching it? Something. So or the die is, or the solidification happens only within the die, and then you take out the casting. That's all, right? So all these steps, when visualized, your SIPOC is ready. Clear? Now who will move the ladle? Who will be moving the ladle? For moving the ladle, certain inputs are required. Yes or no?
Yes,
What
sir.
is the output? What is the output? Now the ladle is close to the die. That's the output.
Yes.
The output is ladle is brought close to the die. Now who is the customer now? The person who is going to
Pour
tilt.
the metal.
Yeah, the person who is going to tilt and pour the metal. Now the customer is known. His requirement is known. His requirement is he needs a ladle full of metal, full of molten metal. Yes or no? He
Yes,
needs the ladle available just close to the die. All that your process has done. And now in order to do this, what kind of inputs are required? That is written in the input column. You need the furnace with the molten metal at the right temperature, isn't it?
Yes.
And furnace should be, should be, in the open, the furnace lid should be open. And now who will do all this? That he is known as supplier. All of you understand the supplier, input, process, output, and customer in this case?
Yes, yes.
Very good.
Yes.
So in this manner, you create a SIPOC diagram. So creating a project charter and creating a SIPOC completes your define phase. But the indication of define phase completion is project sponsor signing your charter. What is the outcome of define phase? Project charter approved by project sponsor. So the deliverable from the define phase is approved project charter. All of you are clear with this?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Very good. So if there are any question you want to ask me, you can ask. Otherwise, we are ready to move on to the measure phase. Any question you want to ask?
While